Welcome back. All right, 10 games tonight in the National Hockey League, including a 7:30 start that was delayed in getting started, so I'm a little bit late in getting things going, but either way, we're here now. I'm here to start this off now with the Washington Capitals in Boston against the Bruins. Lindgren versus Swayman. Chychrun has a chance that deflects out. Shots are 4-1 for the Capitals, 4 minutes in. Bruins press at 5 minutes. Geeky has a rush chance that's held. The Caps press at 7.5 minutes. In fact, the shots are 7-2 Washington halfway through the period. Capitals press with 8.5 minutes left, but we get a power play for Boston, a chance for Boston. It leads to a shorthanded goal. Dowd from Duhaime at 13:32. We then end up with some 4-on-4 play before the Capitals have a power play and they score on it. Ovechkin on the power play, he's 4 away from setting the record for goals now. That's at 15:42 from Strome and Karlsson, and the score after the first is 2-0 for the Caps. Second period, early press by Washington, who's Nadinov can't bury one in close. The Bruins press at 3 minutes. Shots are 2-0 Boston at 4.5 minutes. There's more pressure by the Bruins at 5 minutes, and at 6:05 they get on the board. Lettieri from Kuznetsov. Wotherspoon then breaks up a 2-on-1. We get a power play for Boston. That one becomes a 4-on-4 as well. Everything's killed off there. Bruins press with 6 minutes left. We had a fight between McElrath and VL that went on for a while. Bruins go back to the power play and they score on this one. At 17:11, Pastrnak tips in a net feed. Geeky and Lowry with the assists. It's a 2-2 tie. Bruins press with a minute and a half left. It stays 2-2 after 2. Third period. Caps press at 2 minutes. Bruins get some pressure 4 minutes in. Capitals get some pressure 6 minutes in. So it's nice back and forth period. Shots are 6-5 Capitals at 7 minutes. Brown has a rush chance that's saved. Capitals press at the half. There's a net feed to Protas that's blocked. And then at 10:37, Strome puts in a rebound from the doorstep. The assists, Protas and Fir. So the Caps have their lead back. The Capitals press for another, and they would get one at 14:46. Wilson with a goal that goes in off Lowry's stick. Assist to Dubois and Ovechkin. The Bruins would answer at 15:13. Pastrnak scores from Geeky and Zacha, but that's as close as Boston would get. They'd pull the goaltender, but the final score in this one's 4-3. The Caps go to 48-17-9 with the win. With the loss, Boston 30-36-9 on the season. And by my count, they're now 5th from the bottom of the standings, meaning they're getting closer and closer to maybe getting a good lottery pick. Shots on net, 11-4 Washington in the first, 9-6 Boston in the second, 15-11 Washington in the third. Final shots 32-24 for the Capitals. Power plays, Washington 1 for 2, Boston 1 for 3. The hits, 20-17 for Boston. Lindgren, 21 saves on 24 shots. Swayman, 28 saves on 32 shots. All right, next up. Florida and Montreal. Vanacek versus Montembeault. The Habs press at 2 minutes. Hudson has a rush chance that's held. The shots are 3-1 Montreal, 3 minutes in. Teams trade rushes. The Panthers press. They're kept to the outside. And then at 4:43, it's a screenshot that's tipped in by Anderson, Gooley, and Hudson with the assists. Florida presses to respond. Eventually they do at 10:37. Mikkola with a net feed that deflects in off Evans' stick. Lundell with the assist. And of course, Mikkola, public enemy number 1. Crowd wasn't happy when that one went in. The Panthers score again, but this one's kicked in, so that comes off the board. Struble to Anderson near miss. It's 1-1 after 1. Second period, teams trade turnovers. Shots at 3-1 Montreal at 3 minutes. There's a near miss for Reinhardt on a turnover. Panthers press at 5 minutes, but there's an offensive zone penalty by Barkov that brings that to an end. That power play's killed off. The Panthers rush after it's done. Gallagher then can't bury one in close. Shots are 7-5 for the Panthers with 9 minutes left. Habs press with 7.5 minutes left. Caulfield has a wrister that's held, and with 1:57 left, the Florida Panthers get a power play. And at 18:47, Samoskevich scores on that power play. Jones with the assist. This one goes in off Gooley's stick. So Montreal sticks putting goals in their own net tonight. 41.3 seconds left. The Panthers get a power play. Things get pushy and punchy at the horn, so that makes it a 4-on-4 to start the third period. There's a shorthanded Barkov rush that ends up drawing a call just as the power play is coming to an end. So it's a full 2-minute power play for Florida, which Montreal kills off to stay in this game just behind 2-1. Gooley has a wrister that's held. The shots are 4-1 Florida at 5 minutes. We get a power play for the Habs. That's killed off. Gallagher can't bury one in close. Bennett's denied on a rush. The Habs press at the half. Shots are 7-3 Florida with 7.5 minutes left. Barkov's denied on a 3-on-2 rush. And at 19:51, with the goalie pulled, Suzuki tips one in to tie the game at 2. Hudson and Slavkovsky with the assists. In the overtime, Montreal needs one shot, and they get it. 29 seconds in, Suzuki buries a wraparound. Caulfield and Hudson with the assists. So Hudson with 3 assists tonight. Montreal wins 3-2 in overtime. They go to 35-30-9 and greatly improve their chances of making the playoffs. Florida 44-26-4 with the overtime loss. This is where strength of schedule. Hey, if you beat the good teams, who cares about the strength of schedule? Shots on net, 9-5 Montreal in the first, 13-7 Florida in the second, 9-4 Florida in the third. Montreal had the only shot of overtime. It's all they needed. Final shots, 27-21 Florida. Power plays, the Panthers 1 for 3, Montreal 0 for 3. The hits, 17-11 for Florida. Vanacek saves 18 out of 21. Montembeault saves 25 out of 27. All right, next up, Buffalo and Ottawa. So Buffalo came into this one having won every game against Ottawa, so they had a chance to sweep the season series. Reimer versus Ullmark, Sens press at a minute and a half. There's a post for Peterka on a rush. Shots are 2-0 Ottawa at 3 minutes. We then get a power play for the Senators. That's killed off. Gregg fires one high on a rush. Batherson with a net drive that's blocked. Krebs fires one high from the slot, and then at 8:38, Tuck, as the Sabres are getting some pressure. It's a rebound that Tuck puts into the net. Samuelson and Zucker with the assists. It's 1-0 Buffalo. Sens go back to the power play. That's killed off as well. Ottawa presses after it's over. Pinto's denied via a 3-on-2 rush. And then at 11:51, it's a point shot top shelf. Darlene from Quinn. It's 2-0 for Buffalo. Sens get their third power play of the first period. That's killed off as well. It was a period that Ottawa played really well, and Buffalo leads 2-0 because things don't make sense. Second period, Quinn has a net drive chance that deflects out. Shots are 2-0 Ottawa at 4.5 minutes. Not completely different than the start of the first period. Benson has a rush chance that's saved. Sabres press at 6.5 minutes. Kulik has a net feed that's picked off. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, and during the 4-on-4, Tage Thompson scores to make it 3-0 at 12:36. Peterka with the assist. And so, 3-0 in favor of Buffalo. But at 13:46, Giroux buries a cross-ice pass. Clevin and Ullmark with the assists. So Ullmark getting a point in this one, and that makes it 3-1. Things get punchy behind the Sens net. The Sabres press with a minute and a half left. With 48 seconds left, the Sabres get a power play. So it's 3-1 Buffalo after 2. Power play rolls into the third period, where the Senators do finish the kill, but the shots are 3-0 Buffalo at 4.5 minutes. Things are pushy on a Reimer hold, so it's a 4-on-4 2 minutes after that. Sens press at 8 minutes, and at 9:59, Krebs scores to make it 4-1. So very quiet Ottawa building tonight until at 10:22, so 23 seconds later, Sanderson with a wrister pass to screen. The assist to Amadio and Zub makes the score 4-2. Sens press with 5.5 minutes left. With 3:35 left, they get a power play. They make it a 6-on-4. And McLeod hits the empty net, which is also a shorthanded goal at 17:21. Tuck and Clifton with the assists. So the goalie pull happens again for 6-on-5, but in the end, Buffalo wins this one 5-2. They go to 32, 36, and 6 and pass Boston with this result tonight. The Ottawa Senators 39, 29, and 6 with the loss. Shots on net, 12-5 Ottawa in the first, 8 apiece in the second, 15-9 Ottawa in the third. Final shots 35-22 in favor of Ottawa. Power plays, Buffalo 0 for 1, Buffalo's 0 for 1, Ottawa's 0 for 4. The hits 25-13 for Ottawa. Reimer, another good game for Reimer, 33 saves on 35 shots. He's having a really good stretch run here. Ullmark, 17 saves on 21 shots. And the weird thing is, it may cost Buffalo a good draft pick, but they already have all the young players, so maybe they don't really care about the draft pick as much. But as a Boston fan, I appreciate the better odds at the draft lottery. All right, next up, Nashville and Columbus, the game with all the goals tonight. Really, the goals were not crazy in most of these games, but this one, yep. So Saros versus Merzlikins, there's an early press by Columbus, and at 1:15 on a turnover, Marchenko buries a cross-ice pass. Werenski with the assist. It's 1-0 Columbus. Teams trade rushes. Shots are 5-2 Columbus at 5 minutes. There's a post for Kent Johnson on a rush. Columbus presses with 8.5 minutes left. Eventually, at 16:34, Fantilli buries a cross-ice pass. The assist to Matejchuk and Kent Johnson. It's 2-0 Columbus. We then get a power play for Columbus with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and they score on it. At 18:10, it's Monahan from Kent Johnson and Werenski. However, 24 seconds later, Philip Forsberg answers at 18:34 for Nashville. Evangelista and O'Reilly with the assists, so it's 3-1 Columbus after 1. Second period, good early press by Columbus, and they were forechecking as well. And at 4 minutes and 12 seconds, Marchenko scores from Monahan to make it 4-1. Columbus looks for another, but Nashville finds it. At 5:43, it's Bunting from Svechkov and Evangelista. And then at 6:26, it's Barron from Vrana. So that makes it a 4-3 game. Game's getting kind of close. Columbus looks to respond. Fantilli has a net feed that's picked off. There's a press by Nashville with 8.5 minutes left. At 12 minutes, Fantilli scores on a breakaway. Beautiful goal by Fantilli. The assist to Boone Jenner. We then get a power play for Columbus, and they score on it. Monahan at 16:47 from Marchenko and Jenner. Stamkos then has a net feed. That's blocked, and Columbus would score again before the power play, or before the period's out. At 19:42, it's Fabro firing one past a screen. Fantilli and Kent Johnson with the assists. And so it's 7-3 in favor of Columbus after 2. Third period, full power play for Nashville to start. However, 57 seconds of 4-on-4 would follow that, and everything gets killed off. Then at 5:23, Marchenko gets the hat-trick goal. The assists to Monahan and Fabro. So Fabro had quite the game against his former team. We then get a power play for Nashville. That's killed off. And then at 9:02, Osterley scores from Cole Smith to make it an 8-4 game. Preds go back to the power play. That's killed off. Columbus gets a power play. That's killed. And it's just penalties from here. There was another power play for Nashville. It becomes a 4-on-4. Then there was another penalty. There's just penalties after penalties called. In the end, it's an 8-4 win for Columbus. They go to 34-30-9 with the win on the season. Nashville drops to 27-40-8 with the loss on the season. Shots on net, 13 apiece in the first, 13-7 Columbus in the second, 11-8 Columbus in the third. Final shots, 37-28 in favor of the Blue Jackets. Power plays, Nashville 0-4, Columbus 2-5. The hits, 22-10 for Columbus. Saros saves 19 out of 26 in the first 2 periods. Annunen comes in the third and saves 10 out of 11. Merzlikins saved 24 out of 28 in the victory for Columbus, who stay within shooting distance of this playoff spot that's currently occupied by Montreal, who now sit 2 points ahead of both Columbus and the Rangers. So, yeah, that race is probably going to get down to the last weekend of the year. Season. So, Tampa Bay and the New York Islanders next on the board. Vasilevsky versus Sorokin. Early press by Tampa. Shots are 3-0 for the Bolts, 4 minutes in. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The Islanders press at 6 minutes during that 4-on-4. Horvat's denied on a fast break. The Bolts press at 8 minutes. And at 8:46, Bjorkstrand deflects in a point shot, his 20th of the season. Radish and Point with the assists. Tampa Bay then draws a power play, and the Islanders score on it. It is Horvat wiring one far side on a rush with the shorthanded marker. Pulock with the assist at 10:57. We have a 1-1 tie. The Islanders finish the kill. We then get a power play for the Islanders. That becomes 4-on-4. Everything's killed off. It's 1-1 after the first. Second period. There's an early jump for Tampa. The Islanders press at 1.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Islanders. That becomes 13 seconds of 5-on-3. Everything's killed off. And then Gensel on a cross-ice pass. He buries it on a rush. Kucherov and Point with the assists at 8:09. PK Subban really likes Nikita Kucherov. Like really likes Nikita Kucherov. Anyways, so the Bolts press at 9.5 minutes. Palmieri has a fast break. That's defended. And then at 10:41, Hedman scores from Kucherov and Gensel, where again, PK Subban, who was doing the color on ESPN, really likes Kucherov. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but just it got to be where I was like, okay, this is a lot. Like, did he give you $20 before the game? Anyways, so and I'm a person who absolutely thinks Kucherov's one of the best players in the game. But anyways, it's 3-1, and this one's glove side from the slot by Hedman. So yeah, 3-1. Tampa presses with 7.5 minutes left. The Islanders would press with 6 minutes left. It's 3-1 Tampa after 2. Third period. There's a full Islanders power play to start, but that becomes 1 minute and 37 seconds of 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off there. Chaffee has a rush that's defended. Tampa Bay goes back to the power play. That's killed off. Shots are 5-4 for the Islanders at 6.5 minutes. Tampa Bay presses at 8 minutes. The Islanders just basically pinned down a lot in that third period. We then had a fight between Gord and Cizikas. The Islanders press with 5.5 minutes left. Goalie pull happens with 4 minutes left because they're down by 2. And then Nick Paul hits the empty net to put him down by 3. Cirelli and Chernak with the assists at 16-29. The final score in this one, 4-1 for Tampa. They go to 44-25-5 with the win. With the loss, the Islanders 32-32-10. And with that result, combined with what Montreal did, the odds for the Islanders just took a real hit for their playoff chances. Shots on net, 11-10 Tampa in the first, 9-6 Islanders in the second, 10-7 Islanders in the third. Final shots, 29-24 for the Islanders. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 4. The hits, 25-14 Islanders. Vasilevsky, 28 saves on 29 shots. Sorokin, 20 saves on 23 shots. The last thing I'll say, too, about that broadcast was they kept saying how this is a really important game for the Islanders. Yeah, Tampa Bay's trying to finish first in the division. It's important for them, too. Nobody wants to be that third-place team in the Atlantic because that's a tough spot to be in. At any rate, let's go to the board number 2. All right, so Detroit and St. Louis. Talbot versus Binnington. Talbot had quite a game. Buchnevich is denied in close. There's a power play for the Blues. That's killed off. Shots are 5-2 St. Louis at 5.5 minutes. Kane has a rush chance, that saved, and then the Wings decided to stop getting shots. They did get some pressure at 7 minutes. We then get a power play for the Blues. That's killed off. The shots are 9-3 St. Louis with 4.5 minutes left. Tucker has a one-timer that's held. There's no score after 1. Second period, Buchnevich is denied again. He was denied early in the first and early in the second. Leddy then denies Casper. Nick Leddy covering when Binnington wasn't in the net. Wings draw a power play. That's killed off. Things get pushed on a hold by Talbot. Shots are 5-2 St. Louis at 6 minutes. The Wings press at 7.5 minutes. Blues press 9 minutes into the period. Halfway through the game, Detroit had 6 shots. So this was all Talbot keeping this scoreless. Blues press with 7 minutes left. We get a power play for the Wings. Tarasenko has a chance that's held during that. That's killed off. The Blues press with 1.5 minutes left. It's still scoreless after 2. Third period, early press by Detroit. Blues then press at 1.5 minutes. Good forechecking by St. Louis. Compher has a rush that saves. Shots are 3 apiece 4 minutes in. Petrie has a wrister that's held. And then at 5:13, Compher puts one into an open net from the doorstep. The assist to Berggren and Tarasenko. Blues press at 7.5 minutes. We get a power play for St. Louis. That's killed off. Detroit then gets a power play. That's killed off as well. The Blues press with 6.5 minutes left. The shots are 12-8 for St. Louis with 5 minutes left. And Detroit would lose a shot. The Blues press with 3.5 minutes left. They would pull the goaltender with 3:02 left. And eventually they score. At 19:32, it's Kyrou from Fowler and Holloway. He goes 5-hole from the left circle. That ties the game at 1. We're headed to overtime. Blues control early. There's a net feed to DeBrincat that's picked off. Tarasenko has a rush where he felt he was tripped by Binnington. There was no call there. And then at 3:26, Fowler backhands one top shelf. That's 10 wins in a row for St. Louis. You get a video tomorrow. Thomas with the assist. It's a 2-1 overtime win for St. Louis. They go to 41-28-7 and pass Minnesota. They're now the number 1 wild card. For Detroit, 34-33-7. They do get a point, but it really is not looking great for Detroit. The chess magnet's on the board because there were only 3 goals in this game. Shots on net favored St. Louis almost the whole way. 11-3 in the first, 12-9 in the second, 13-7 in the third. Detroit actually outshot them 2-1 in overtime, but St. Louis the shot that counts. Final shots, 37-21 for St. Louis. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 3. The hits, 39-32 St. Louis. Talbot, 35 saves on 37 shots. Great night. Binnington was excellent as well with 20 saves on 21 shots. All right, next up, Calgary and Utah. Wolf versus Vejmelka. Early press by Utah. However, the shots are 3-1 Calgary, 3 minutes in. Rooney has a rush chance that's kicked aside. Kerfoot is denied on a fast break. Ball then breaks up a Utah 2-on-1. The Utah Hockey Club presses at 7.5 minutes. Gunther took a puck to the face. He did skate off, but still, that looks painful. Flames press with 9 minutes left. The shots are 10-5 Calgary with 7 minutes left. The teams trade turnovers. Utah presses with 2.5 minutes left. And at 17:46, Stenlund buries a one-timer from the slot. Kerfoot and Cole with the assists. It's 1-0 Utah after 1. Second period, Cooley has a net drive that's held. It looked like the Flames might have scored. It was reviewed. To me, it looked like it completely crossed, but I guess they didn't see white ice because they say no. So it stays 1-0. And not long after, at 2:25, Hayden buries one on a net drive to make it 2-0. Dursey and Schmaltz with the assists. So 2-0 for Utah. Utah presses for another. The Flames press at 5 minutes. The shots are 5 apiece, 8 minutes into the period. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Things get punchy on a hold by Wolf. Kadri's denied on a rush, and then at 13 minutes, Rasmus Andersson with a shot past a screen from the point. He gets Calgary on the board. It's now 2-1. 1:53 left. The Flames get a power play. They do not score on it, and things get pushy at the horn because, I mean, they're probably pretty frustrated. 2-1 for Utah after 2. Third period, early jump for the Flames. Kadri has a rush that's defended. Flames press at 3.5 minutes, but the Utah Hockey Club, some good forechecking shortly after that. Things get pushy and high sticky during an offside. Huberdeau with a net feed, that's picked off. There's a near miss for Coronado on a rush. Then there's a blocker save on a rush chance by Fir Avenue. We get a power play for Utah. That's killed off. Shots are 7-3 Calgary with 9 minutes left. We get a power play for Calgary. That's killed off. Backlund with a near miss after that power play's done. Frost then has a slot shot that gets blocked. The goalie pull doesn't happen until a minute left because Utah was not just backing off. They were forechecking and getting the puck in the Calgary zone. And at 19:42, they get the finishing goal, the empty netter, Keller from Gunther and Cooley. So a 3-1 win for Utah. They go to 35-29-12 with the win. With the loss, Calgary 35-27-12. And their playoff chances take a hit tonight there too. Shots on net, 12 apiece in the first, 10-9 Calgary in the second, 12-7 Calgary in the third. Final shots 34-28 for the Flames. Power plays, Calgary 0 for 2, Utah 0 for 1. The hits 33-28 for Calgary. Wolf, 25 saves on 27 shots. Vejmelka, 33 saves on 34 shots. I think this is the best game Vejmelka's had in weeks, which is going to be frustrating for Flames fans. All right. Edmonton and Vegas. So it's Pickard versus Hill. The Oilers press at a minute and a half. We get a power play for the Golden Knights. Crossbar and out for Eichel. Power play's killed off. 2 shots on net. Then at 4:33, Roy scores from Dorofeev. So it's a 1-0 lead for Vegas. The Oilers look to respond, but they don't get shots to the net. The shots are 5-0 Vegas at 6.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Oilers. That's killed off. Olofsson has a wrister that's held. Vegas presses with 7.5 minutes left. The shots are 10-1 Vegas with 5 minutes left. Edmonton would get some chances late in that period, but it's 1-0 Vegas. And it looks like this game, if not for some good saves by Pickard, it might be worse than that. Then in the second period, 19 seconds in, Wallman gets his first goal as an Oiler. He fires it from the left circle. Podkolzin and Bouchard with the assists, so suddenly it's a 1-1 tie. Perry has a net feed that's picked off. Shots are 1 apiece at 4 minutes. The Oilers press at 4.5 minutes. Wallman has a net drive chance that's saved. Oilers press at 8 minutes. Shots are 5-2 Edmonton halfway through the period. Vegas presses with 8.5 minutes left. The teams trade turnovers. We then get a power play for the Oilers, and that becomes a 5-on-3. And a 5-on-3 for the Oilers, even without McDavid, you can't be doing it, and they make him pay. Draisaitl, a one-timer, his 52nd goal of the season. The assist to Nugent Hopkins and Bouchard at 16:03. Hyman then can't bury one in close. Vegas does kill off the 5-on-4. The Oilers then score. It's challenged for goalie interference, and it counts. At 18:20, it's Arvidsson from Kapanen and Henrique. So because that goal counts, the Oilers have a power play. They're up 3-1. That power play runs to the end of the second period. To start the third, Vegas finishes the kill, and then at 2:35, Dorofeev fires one past a screen to make this a little closer at 3-2. The assist to Korczak and Roy. Eichel then has a net feed that's picked off. Nugent Hopkins has a shot that's held as the Oilers get some pressure. Oilers press again with 8.5 minutes left. Dorofeev misses an open net. He had a perfect chance to tie it, did not do it. Vegas presses with 5.5 minutes left. Roy has a net drive chance that's blocked. Vegas presses with 2.5 minutes left. They would pull the goaltender with the Vegas Golden Knights with 1:53 left, and it doesn't work. The Oilers hang on. They win this one 3-2. They go to 43, 26-5. Needed victory for the Oilers. With the loss, Vegas 45-21-8. Shots on net, 10-4 Vegas in the first, 11-4 Edmonton in the second, 8-5 Vegas in the third. Final shots 22-20 for the Golden Knights. Power plays, Edmonton 1 for 4, Vegas 0 for 1. The hits 30-12 for Edmonton. Pickard saves 20 out of 22. Hill saves 17 out of 20. And yeah, big win for the Oilers. We'll see if they can build on this. All right, next up, San Jose and Anaheim, a game that was far more entertaining than it had any right to be. Georgiev versus Dostal, early press by Anaheim. In fact, 2 minutes in, Anaheim's got 5 shots. San Jose has nothing. And then at 2:04, right on the face-off win, right when I'm writing that, Zegras scores from Colangelo and McTavish. So that was quick. Celebrini then has a rush chance that's saved. And at 5:28, it's an unscreened point shot. You can't allow this goal. Mahatmadulin scores this. It's a big oof by DET-STL. The assist to Ferraro and Dellandrea. We then get a power play for Anaheim, and they score on it. Lacombe puts one past the screen short side. Zegras and McTavish with the assists at 8:13. Anaheim has a 2-1 lead. Sharks press at 9.5 minutes. We get a power play for San Jose. That becomes a 5-on-3. That's killed off. Eklund's denied on a rush. The Ducks press with 2 minutes left. And at 19:01, Colangelo makes it 3-1 Anaheim. The assist to McTavish and Gudas. And that's your score after one in favor of the Ducks. Second period, Sharks press at 1.5 minutes, but the only shot on net belongs to San Jose 3 minutes in. Sharks press at 4.5 minutes. Gudas has a one-timer that's held. Shots are 7-2 for San Jose at 7 minutes. Grundstrom's denied on a net drive. The Ducks press with 8.5 minutes left. Lacombe then has a net feed that's picked off. Shots are 13-4 San Jose with 4.5 minutes left. Really strong second period by San Jose. Sharks press with 3.5 minutes left, but they just cannot get on the board. And so it stays 3-1 in favor of Anaheim after 2. Third period, we have 2 minutes of 4-on-4. That becomes a 4-on-3 power play for the Ducks. Everything gets killed off there. The Sharks would then press, and during a delayed call at 4:09, Vlasic scores. From Thompson, I know, Marc-Edouard Vlasic, the goal scorer, we all expected that tonight. Suddenly the score is 3-2. Shots are 5-1 Ducks at 9 minutes. Zegras has a chance that's held. We get a power play for Anaheim. That becomes a 5-on-3. That gets killed off. Ducks press after it's done. The shots are 12-1 for Anaheim with 7.5 minutes left. This is where they announced Mahatmadulin, who got injured earlier, would not return to the game. Sharks press with 3.5 minutes left, and at 16:46, Wenberg scores from Eklund to tie the game at 3. We're going to overtime. Ducks control early. There's a post for Terry. Zegras is denied in close. Toffoli couldn't bury one in close. McTavish was denied on a 3-on-1 rush. We're going to overtime. In the shootout, we go to the shootout. In the shootout, McTavish gets the winner. And so Anaheim survives the scare. They win 4-3 in a shootout. They go to 33-33-8 with the win. With the loss, San Jose 20-44-10. They've reached 50 points. There you go. San Jose's at 50 points. Shots on net, 15-13 Anaheim in the first, 14-4 San Jose in the second, 16-3 Anaheim in the third, and yet 2 of those 3 shots by San Jose go in the net. Final shots, well, no, in overtime the shots are 3-1 for Anaheim. Final shots now are 38-31 for the Ducks. Power plays, San Jose 0 for 2, Anaheim 1 for 4. The hits, 24-16 for the Ducks. Georgiev, 35 saves on 38 shots. And DET-STL, 28 saves on 31 shots. Both goaltenders allowed some iffy goals, but both goaltenders also made great saves. It kind of balances out in the end. All right, last game of the night is Winnipeg in LA against the Kings. The Kings, the best home team in the National Hockey League. The Jets trying to win themselves a President's Trophy and the division. So it's Hellebuck versus Kemper. The Kings press at 2.5 minutes. The only shot on net belongs to the Winnipeg Jets, 3.5 minutes in. Good forechecking by the Kings, and at 8:28 on a turnover, Moore scores from Edmondson. So it's a point shot deflected in by Trevor Moore. He continues to heat up. Jets look to respond. The Kings block, and then at 9:50, a tic-tac-toe play on a rush, and only their 4th shot on net. It's Kopitar from Kuzmenko and Kempe. Telling you, Kuzmenko is really fitting in well with the Kings. Lewis has a turnover chance that's held. The shots are 6 apiece with 7 minutes left. Good forechecking by the Kings, which, I had written that twice on the board, telling you just how hardworking this team is. Jets press with 1.5 minutes left, but they struggle to get to the net, and it's 2-0 for the Kings after 1. Stop me if you've heard that before. Teams struggling to get to the net when they're playing in LA against the Kings. Second period, early press by the Jets. Shots are 3-2 Winnipeg, 3 minutes in. Kings press at 3.5 minutes, but now we're getting into a part of the game where there's not really a path to either net. The Jets and the Kings both blocking it out well. Scheifele has a net drive that's blocked. Moore has a turnover chance that's held. The Kings press at 7.5 minutes. We get a power play for LA. There's a shorthanded Lowry rush and just holding and ragging the puck a bit to kill some time. They do kill that off. And then at 11:40, Perfetti, who'd been in the box on that power play, he scores out of the box. Barron with the assist, and this is on a 2-on-1 rush. So suddenly, Winnipeg's back in it. It's 2-1. Jets press looking for the tie. The shots are 5-4 Winnipeg with 5 minutes left. And then at 16:07, Kuzmenko makes it a 3-1 lead for the LA Kings. Kings would then press with 3 minutes left, and they're up 3-1 after 2. Third period. Early jump for Winnipeg. The Kings press at 1.5 minutes. Hellenius has a net drive chance that's held. Barron then has a shot that's blocker to side. We get a power play for the Jets. That's killed off. The Jets press at 7.5 minutes. The Kings press at 9 minutes. Shots are 3-1 for the Jets with 8.5 minutes left. With 5:08 left, the Jets get a power play. That's killed off. And honestly, that penalty kill by the Kings was fantastic tonight. The Kings press after killing it off. The goalie pull happens with 2 minutes left. And at 19:05, Kempe hits the empty net from Kopitar and Fogle. The final score in this one's 4-1. The Kings go to 42-23-9 and maintain that second spot. That home ice is key for them come playoff time. With the loss, Winnipeg 51-20-4, and they have to be looking over their shoulder at the Dallas Stars. They just have to. Shots on net, 10-7 LA in the first, 8-6 LA in the second, 6-2 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots 20-19 for the Kings. They do not allow a lot of shots. Power plays 0 for 2 for Winnipeg, 0 for 1 for the LA Kings. The hits 26-18 for Winnipeg. Hellebuck saves 16 out of 19. Kemper saves 18 out of 19 at the other end. So there you go. You're all caught up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.